Vegas for the Riftbound 10K. I'm Casanova, joined by Blevins. We're jumping into this next round with a very special player who has done incredibly well in the Western scene for a very long time in the online tournaments. And people always ask, will that convert in person?
Yeah.
Can that be good enough? It is Prismaticism that we are going to get on stream, piloting
what
Teemo.
What?
Instead of playing either Kaisa or Yi, Prismat at 5-1 on Teemo, going up against Yuki on Kaisa, Daughter of the Void. I was talking to Priz earlier. He was saying he did feel like this matchup is unfavored for him. However, if his opponent doesn't know exactly what's in his deck, if they don't know 48, he's going to actually come out a little bit ahead.
So if you're saying if the strategy is hidden, it's quite good for Teemo.
Yeah, it is. But people will get a glimpse in this game. We'll get a chance to see what Prismat is able to put together with this Teemo deck, only dropping a single game so far. I do know he did drop a game to a Kaisa, but there was an issue. Priz accidentally, during a turn, drew up 2 cards and immediately hand shuffled, accidentally drawing the second one. He did have to present his hand to his opponent where they were able to discard 2, as is customary. Good judge call, of course. Made the mistake, but he did say that it cost him the game.
For sure.
That is where that loss came from. And Prismat has been feeling like he's been playing some pretty clean Riftbound throughout the rest of the day. So we'll see if he can turn things around and make sure that that mistake doesn't cost him too much.
Yeah, look, if you make the top 8, you get to forget about that, and all bets are off at that point. But the road to the top 8 begins here now at X-1. We know that is the soft lock. I say soft because there's always I never try to predict bracket math before the brackets have been published here, but we're going to be seeing what looks like the Bandle tree, and my eyes are not good enough to see that battlefield from here. There we go.
But that Bandle tree for Prismat, that means you can hide an additional hidden card there. Usually you are capped to a single hidden card at a battlefield. Bandle tree does allow you to hide an additional one. Usually this is a pretty one-sided battlefield for Teemo, so it's pretty good for that neutral start to be able to go for that double hide. And Priz is going to be able to have that against Kaisa, who notably really pretty much never plays hidden cards. I mean, technically in blue there are, but it's been incredibly rare. Maybe Consult the Past, but those have been really gone since maybe the first Chinese tournaments that we saw.
Yeah, we've seen a couple here or there in some of the earlier rounds. We saw Consult the Past, but I think if you asked what a stock standard Kaisa list is, it would likely not include Consult the Past, at least in the current day.
And the other side is that Targon's Peak. So when you conquer here, you may ready 2 runes at the end of the turn. So that will be what Kaisa's
What is the connection between Targon's Peak and Annie? That's what I want to know. What is the thematic connection there?
Look, honestly, I wish I had some witty answer to go back. I've got nothing.
Nothing,
I've got absolutely nothing for that.
when Tibbers is summoned down, it comes technically from Targon's Peak, is what I'm saying, even though that's almost certainly not thematically true. Anyways, we've got our good friend Gumbo, the traveling merchant, here on the side of Prismat, starting off on turn 1, one of the stronger, if not the strongest, 2-drop in purple.
Yeah, and if you take a look here, you'll notice that Prismat's deck is entirely in Chinese. Well, he does practice with some players from the Chinese scene, and so ended up going for cards from China to end up playing with. He's been playing the game so much, he does not need to read the card. He can look at the pretty pictures and go from there. But there is going to be the traveling merchant moving on to that Bandle tree. And we'll see if he can just get some hidden rolling already. He can just go for a Consult and the Teemo if he wants, but he's going to start out, I think, to look for potentially maybe the draw. No, he is going to go Consult, hide the Teemo.
Okay. Just says,
and potentially just hold on to these extra
never know what
runes.
These cards are.
No. Ravenbloom at home says, hey, you know what? If you want to try and deal with this, I've got plenty of action with these hidden cards. I can tap out on this turn. Sends it over to Yuki.
Yeah, this is a question I see commonly asked across the internet in various discords. Can you hide Teemo directly from the Chosen Champ Zone? Saw it there. You can. Yeah,
you absolutely can. It's just going to be a Void Seeker from Yuki going towards that Traveling Merchant. Priz is going to go ahead and say, you know what? All right, let's start with maybe Teemo.
Yeah.
And say, all right.
Yep, and notably starting with the Teemo here. The Void Seeker does resolve, but now Priz, if they don't want to, does not need to reveal that Consult the Past. Unlike in an earlier round where we needed a window to cast the Pocket Cup and wanted it specifically on opponent's turn, Consult the Past getting cast at any time is fine. And in fact, would rather hold it because of the Raven Bloom student.
Exactly. This one is much better to be able to save for your turn, have that student already just baseline be a 3 to push in when you get to play this Consult for free. And it looks like that may end up just immediately being relevant as we see Yuki go ahead and play out this Noxus. Hopeful for 2. Does get 2 runes back from conquering that Targon's Peak, so will not be fully tapped out. But that does mean, you know, Raven Bloom already just going to be a 3 to push into that Lecturing Yordle. And we saw Prismat already had some action to be able to answer if maybe a spell came out like a Ray to try and deal with it. He's got a Stupefy to immediately answer.
Yep, has a Stupefy. We see a Fighter Flight. We see a Doctamundo and a stack deck. One of my favorite cards. One of my favorite cards just from a power level standpoint. One of my least favorite cards in terms of the amount of fiddling it requires you to do when you put the cards on the bottom of your deck.
Yeah, well, there Priz does grab those 3 cards, taking a look at what options he may have. Does decide to just chain it with another stack deck. I like this a lot, especially when you've got Raven Bloom. Especially, I mean, obviously, if the other 2 choices are not exactly what you need, you might as well rebuy. But with the Raven Bloom, you're also getting that additional +1. And so this Raven Bloom already at a 3. We know that the Consult can make it 4 at any time, plus the Stupefy additionally. So you can get around pretty much just anything that Yuki wants to throw out here. Maybe something like a Smoke Screen is the most troublesome, but even then, you've got 2 spells that you can cast and get over the top of this Lecturing Yordle.
Yeah, looks like it's just going to be a retreat on the side of Yuki here. Do that little bit of acceleration, potentially get a redraw there with the Yordle, saving the material. I mean, a lot of good things. I mean, of course, that card has been very, very good in Kaisa, but I think Priz is more than happy to just take the trade.
Once again, going for that stack deck. Has to make a decision on what he wants. Probably considering, he probably wants a small unit so that he can play it at the Bandle Tree and then pick up Teemo and put Teemo back down.
Yeah, makes sense.
So if he's not able to find a small unit, it's going to be a little bit tough because he really doesn't want to leave that Teemo there, but he does want to play for the hold and play to keep that Bandle Tree kind of with maybe 2 hidden face-down cards there so that Yuki is struggling against it. So see that stack deck played. Does end up grabbing.
It was a Consult the Past, I believe.
Consult the Past. So not able to find maybe that small unit, so maybe just going to play a new Consult the Past, draw 2 more, look for it. Teemo's not exactly the small unit I think he was interested in, but you could look to just hide it next to your own Teemo. The Ember Monk is a little more the speed, however, not enough runes to play the Ember Monk and then pick stuff up and rehide it. You can always still pay the power cost to hide, but the Mundo in hand, you're not really wanting to deramp with the hidden. So this is a tough turn to navigate for Priz. And then, you know, you're up against Kaisa, and I think Yuki is just kind of waiting like, hey, please tap out. Please don't have hidden cards in front of me so that these turns become a little bit easier to navigate.
Yeah, it really is going to, you know, Priz is asking the question, what is my win condition here? Am I going in on the Ember Monk in sort of the mid-game that we're in now, push that advantage, push that tempo that I currently have in terms of points? Or am I saying, you know what, we're gonna back off, we're gonna take this off, we're going to set up for a Mundo turn and just go full hold Mundo. And we'll see what Priz ends up deciding here. And certainly not an easy decision, I wouldn't think.
No, it's definitely not. I mean, I've been enjoying playing a bit of Teemo myself, and these are the kind of turns where, especially into Kaisa, where it feels like kind of your best option is to tap out, but you know that when you do, Kaisas often have the ways to cause issue for you. But instead, I kind of like this from Prismat. Just kind of go for a couple of hides. You might even be able to do a third one. I think there were 3 available, but instead, I think maybe this is holding on to a Fighter Flight to kind of keep that action in case a Darius comes down or the Kaisa. I think that's what we're going to see from Priz is Fighter Flight still in hand. This is a Teemo and a Consult that he's decided to hide.
Having played as much Annie as I have over the past couple of weeks, Fighter Flight is significantly better in your hand.
Except it's not at reaction speed.
It's not at reaction speed, however.
No, but I agree.
It is still very good. Yeah, the flexibility generally, unless you are fully holding on one battlefield.
And look at this. There is the Watcher. This is exactly the kind of play that we were talking about holding on to a fight or flight and being able to defend one side would be so good against. And also, this is going to reduce this Raven Bloom to 1. That Teemo's already a 1.
Yeah.
The hidden Teemo's going to come out as a 4.
Yes.
The Consult the Pass already going to push the Raven Bloom up. We knew there was a Stupefy. The Fight or Flight's going to give bonuses.
Yeah.
Priz actually has a lot of action here that this Watcher is maybe best case for Priz. He's like, cool, you've tapped out of runes. I've got all the answers that I could possibly need. And this is the trickiness of the Teemo deck, even for a deck like Kai'Sa to have to manage.
Yeah. The Fight or Flight is just going to do the level 1 play. Send back home. Send the Watcher back home.
Is it Teemo there? I think it is. It is Teemo. So being able to still maintain the hold over the Bandle Tree, trading one Teemo out and keeping another there, ready to set up for next turn where the Ember Monk is ready to be deployed and then still add additional hides to that Bandle Tree. Insane setup. This is exactly how I would have wanted to draw this up. And Priz, of course, a better player than me, executing on the strategy.
I was going to say, having seen it executed so perfectly, that's exactly how I would have wanted to do it,
you would have wanted to do it too?
That's not how I would have done it. It's how I would have wanted to do it. Okay. Looks like a
maybe just writing down the points.
The points,
and making sure that those get put in correctly. But Priz now, no runes available for Kai'Sa, full control for Prismat. That is 8. He does have the ability to play Mundo, but I feel like with the Ember Monk in hand, you've got the opportunity to just set up a really good position to get up to 7 points and then have that Mundo ready to jam down. And we are going to see that Ember Monk hit the table for Priz.
Yep, absolutely. And I do like that. Ember Monk, especially when you have a bunch of hidden cards, is very tricky, of course. And it makes your opponent have to think about what they need to play around. Mundo just shows you number, and you need to beat number. And a lot of times you can't beat number, but if you can, it's usually rather straightforward to do so. In this case, the range is quite wide. It's quite a wide variety of cards that could be hidden here. The different power, the different might break points here. It's a lot. It's not going to be easy. Fortunately
for Yuki, this is one of the more face-up spots for him.
True.
This is basically, hi, this is 10.
Yep, that's Teemo.
That's Teemo. This is 10 because Ember Monk will get the +2 when Teemo is revealed or when a hidden card is played. But, funny enough, Consult the Past.
I was going to say, and even in this case, it's actually not 10.
It's actually 12. It's actually 12. So here we've got a Ray. Priz does have action against this as well, right? He's got the ability to play the Consult the Past. He can go out for a Stupefy to try and make this get above that Ray. However, that will open the door for the Watcher to come in and take down that Ravenbloom student. So there's consideration, especially with the Fight or Flight. Yet again, I believe I saw one in the hand of Prismat. Going to be considering if he wants to hold that to make sure the Ember Monk gets to hold out instead.
Yeah.
And he lets it go.
Yeah, lets it happen. Okay, leave up the resources there. And now Yuki has to decide, do you take this nice, fresh battlefield? Nothing there. Yep. Or do you contest against the, well, I guess it's just face up 8, right?
Yep. No. Currently, the Ember Monk is at a 6.
Yes.
We've had a card revealed from hidden on this turn. There is a cleave here for Yuki. Can push this up to 10, but we know this is 12.
Yes.
There's the Teemo up to 12. Yuki still having a lot of spells, a lot of action.
Yeah.
Cleave up to 10. Is there another spell that can go with it?
Oh, and if there is, then Fight or Flight can send you right back home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. Yeah. Has the Fight or Flight to cover. That's why you let the Ravenbloom student go. Recognizing that, hey, if I don't, there is just a chance that Yuki with these runes can break the more important battlefield, which is the Ember Monk. If you can keep the Ember Monk alive, things just get very difficult for the Kai'Sa.
Yep, and this is the type of play that we've seen from Priz for a very long time, across multiple games at this point, where it's like, hey, you know, here's the level 1 play. Oh, okay, they didn't do that. And then all of a sudden, it starts to materialize into exactly why they did the thing that they did, and it was much better than anything I could have imagined.
Yeah, Priz just deciding also, hey, it's at 10. I could kind of let this trade down. I still get to keep Teemo, but my Embermonk goes away. There's consideration to just say, well, I'll push this.
Yeah. It really depends on how important the Embermonk is here. And Priz says, important enough.
One of the other reasons I really like the push is there's no threat of like a Darius or something else like that coming in.
Right.
Darius plus Stupefy just to try and trade with the Embermonk, just to get it off of the board. Not possible because 2 cards have already been played from the side of Yuki, right? You've got the Cleave that just came in, but before that there was the Ray.
Bingo.
So there's just no way to kind of make these might break points that Yuki would want to try and actually deal with the Embermonk on this turn.
Yep.
And so Priz knows, okay, I'm safe, which getting through that turn cycle with Embermonk means, well, I'm going to rehide 2 more cards of this battle tree, and let's do it all over again.
Do it all again. That's going to get Priz up to 7 points here. Which means...
Should be up to 6.
Oh, up to 6. Okay, sorry, it was up there
6,
first. I also thought that, but I saw the 6, and I'm like, oh, okay.
5 to 6 there.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yuki does have a lot of might back at base to try and crawl back into this game. But Priz not too low on cards, and we know that Mundo is still around, and if you're looking at this graveyard laid out, there is a lot in the trash to feed the Mundo.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in the trash right now.
16 able to be holding with that much might. That is difficult for Kai'Sa to overcome. 16 might is very, very big.
Yeah.
The big thing, though, that Yuki was able to do was deny the 7th point, because often Teemo is not necessarily a double conquer deck.
Right.
Teemo, it can. You can use the Ride the Winds to go for those double conquers, but it often likes to just go for a hold with a big Mundo. And so being at 6 is actually significantly worse than being at 7 for this deck instead of something like a Kai'Sa where the 2 of them are similar in at least some sense. But it is just going to be Mundo going next to the Embermonk, and he's going to say, hey, Yuki, try your very best to break through all of this that I've got, especially if he's still got the ability to play.
And Yuki says, I'm not going to do that. In fact, let's...
he says, let's go ahead and scoop. That Mundo is too big.
Yeah. That's going to be game number 1 going to Prismat here on the Teemo deck here. Very, very strong there. Very tricky, just tricksy. And just like little things we saw. Prismat doing a little bit of different sequencing. Not saving the Raven Bloom there. Ends up paying off. And I feel like this is I can't even count the number of times that I've initially in my mind thought, I would have played that differently. And they go, oh, and I would be in a much worse scenario than Prismat is in right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think this is great. Now I want to see kind of what Yuki maybe has in the sideboard on the Kai'Sa side of this to be able to deal with it. I know players have had the Mega Mechs for some of the big units from something like a Yi, but also they're kind of decent in a spot like this where they can try and help you contest some of the bigger might totals, especially with something like an Embermonk. The only danger is this is yet another card very susceptible to fight or flight. That is one of the biggest cards for the matchup you have to be worried about. If he's got maybe extra Rains in the board, that can also be helpful to get through some of the bigger numbers set up from the Embermonk, but really trying to get through that is tough, and Embermonk has gotten better recently with the Void Seekers kind of being cut away from a lot of these decks. Yes, Embermonk could get away with it by revealing a hidden, but that 4 is just it's annoying to deal with that spell coming in for 4 out the gates, forcing you to kind of show your hand and try in a way to get around it.
Yeah, you don't want to have to do it. You can play around it, you just don't want to have to.
All right, and let's jump right on in to Game 2. Prismat going to be having Zon Warren's Food for the Mundo Machine. When you conquer here, discard 1 and then draw 1. And then on the other side, Reaver's Row. This is when I defend. You may move 1 unit from this base to your battlefield. And that is going to help Kai'Sa try and get around any of the early attempts at kind of get Kai'Sa Survivor in and get a bunch of card draw, help you deal with some of the big threats that Prismat is going to be presenting.
Yep, absolutely. And we see the turn 1 Teemo there. Just played into the back line for Priz. Not the ideal play, but a play that you always at least are able to make.
It's nice to have a 2-drop in the jam zone, right?
Yeah,
you don't want to miss turn 1.
I really wish that there was a 2-drop Annie that I could play. That would probably be too broken, but I'm here for it.
I already think Stubborn's pretty great.
She is very good.
Ride the Wind on demand.
I think that Annie should be able to play the purple Annie, and also there should be a 2-drop Tibbers that you also get to use as your chosen champion.
So you just want violence. Yeah.
Yes, I certainly do.
All right. Well, Yuki, just the quick start Ravenbloom into just develop Kai'Sa. This is another thing. Having a 4-drop in the champ zone has also been quite strong when it doesn't have a power cost, because you can just really often have like, all right, my turn 2 is just going to be play this and we can pass, and usually it's quite strong.
Yep.
We saw that with the spoilers with Draven Vanquisher being a really cool option that Draven is going to have in upcoming set Spirit Forged, and now we have it with Survivor, and we've seen how good it is with Survivor, especially because she's got the added bonus of having Accelerate.
Yeah,
so,
being the best card in the game.
One of the best cards in the game, and like, all these, some of this other stuff. But it's okay.
Just having that as your chosen champion available at all times at the beginning of the game, it's pretty good. Pretty good.
Pretty good. Priz just going to keep the Teemo there, hide an additional card. Again, you can see Priz is very patient with managing power costs. He's utilizing the Teemo ability to full effect. He does not want to hide things and pay power.
Right.
He knows that Mundo is a big win condition. You have to have your runes. You can't really just afford to throw them out. So trying to be very safe around those. Does have one hidden card there, but this is where the danger comes in for an Ember Monk. Is 6 is not good enough to escape a falling star.
Right.
And we actually see one in the hand of Yuki, and this is where Ember Monk can struggle a lot in the matchup. Usually it's quite strong. A lot of matchups, this is the bread and butter of a Teemo deck to be able to kind of deal with anything trying to push in. But against Kai'Sa, falling star makes the unit look a little silly sometimes.
Yep. Starting with the Stupefy for Yuki.
Oh, okay. Yuki wants to clear everything and force this hidden card to be revealed.
Right. Yep. Okay, falling star targets.
All right. All right, but that will allow the Ember Monk to dodge this with the +2. Consult going to send Ember Monk up to 6.
Yep.
It is at, or 5, because it's -1 from the
-1.
Stupefy. It will live on 2. But it has a lot of might, so Kai'Sa Survivor running in. Yeah. That's just going to be a trade.
That's a trade.
I think it's not bad for Yuki to accept this trade, though. Ahead on points.
Yeah.
Deal with Priz's board, right? That's very, very impactful. So I actually don't hate this line at all. I think it's quite reasonable.
Yeah, and you still have you still got the Ravenbloom student sitting in the bottom there.
Okay.
Slowly collecting points.
Going to save Survivor as well with this Void Seeker. Yeah, I was thinking, is there a way to do this line that you get to save Survivor? Is that, with the Falling Star, if you just double target onto the Ember Monk?
Right.
But I guess if another Teemo gets revealed or something, maybe there's some issues. Yeah. No point in thinking all the way through it. We're past it.
Yeah.
Yuki able to get that Conquer. Does get to stack the triggers here on the Zon Warren's discard, then draw, but can also draw first from Kai'Sa Survivor in order to get more options.
Yep. Got some more options there, and this certainly is a different texture of a game compared to the last one. So they may have stacked the triggers in the other direction, or in the other order there, but still ended up with the appropriate number cards.
All right, back over to Priz. I think this was a great sequence, a great turn cycle from Yuki. Be able to get over what Priz had stacked up on defense, and that's going to put a very good position for Kai'Sa.
Yep.
Teemo does struggle to kind of get back on board after falling behind.
Right.
And I think one of the big things here is Priz is looking for a singularity. If I'm looking at 6 runes right now, looking at the 2 units on board, I think in order to get back and try and reset the game to a neutral state, your best option is if this stacked deck can find a singularity, or if he's got one already, something to start following things up. But even then, you're a cycle behind. You're just getting back to parity, and then Kai'Sa kind of gets to go first from there. And there is a singularity from Prismat, going to be able to deal with both the Kai'Sa Survivor and the Ravenbloom student.
Yep. The super falling star. Able to take out the entire board. And like you said, we cleared the board, but at what cost is the question here. We're behind on points right now as Priz, and Kai'Sa has a full grip of cards, but this is a turn off if I've ever seen one. Well, still ends up being okay, but paying full price for the hopefuls, I mean, makes the card actually seem like a fair one.
Yeah, I do think this is still a great turn for Yuki, being able to establish 2 big bodies that are difficult for the Teemo deck to deal with. Really, his best kind of course of action here is like another Singularity, and that's just delaying yet again. It's not really buying any space for Priz. It's just, I'm just having to deal with everything you're putting down each and every turn, where Yuki doesn't have to keep spending runes and is actually just gaining an advantage via the rune deck instead of actually just even board advantage from there. And in fact, wow, it is just going to be another Singularity, which, as I said, kind of best case for Priz, but it sure doesn't feel good that Yuki is going to go yet another 2 runes up where you've kind of had to recycle everything that you've grabbed for the turn.
Right. Yeah, and like, you know, Priz is turning this into card advantage. You know, you're getting the 2-for-1, which is great, but the cards are not really the issue for Priz right now. It is the points, it is the board presence, it is the tempo of the game. Still solidly in Yuki's favor here. We'll see what they're following.
Another hopeful having to be paid full
price for, and then there's a pass. Okay.
This is maybe an opening for Priz to start clawing back, though he is very far behind in runes. The longer the game goes, the better for Teemo, of course. This is, you know, you're trying to set up the Mundo, make it so that Yuki cannot get through it. So being able to fade a couple points for 2 turns in a row, not the worst situation. I'm curious if the hand has anything exciting for Prismat to be able to actually deal with. I'm seeing a Sprite Call at the bottom. That's one of the hidden cards that has been popping up a little bit more in these Teemo lists. The modularity of being able to just kind of play it for a Sprite to go for the double conquer opportunities can be quite nice, especially if you have an already established Mundo.
Yeah, it's also just another card. Every additional hidden card that's in the deck makes them all slightly better, right? Because it opens up the range of possible cards that can be played. And speaking of cards being played, there's 3 2-drops.
Yep. He said, please don't rain me, please don't rain me, please don't rain me.
Yeah?
Please, 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 please. Is that a rain? I'm looking, he's flicking these cards so fast. Look at this guy, he's a gamer. If there's a rain, though, I do think pretty reasonable to just go ahead and cast a rain. And
makes sense. I see
just
a watcher.
say goodbye, everything.
I see a recall.
Doesn't even really fully need a rain, though. If he's got other spells, if he's got a lot of modular options, it's quite good. But just continuing to have this big tempo lead over Priz. Priz kind of dumping the hand on a bunch of 2s. I think not allowing any Warren's takes or triggers from the Merchant is generally quite good for Yuki. And going to start by drawing a card. Going to dig, try and see what the best options are going to be available. Looked like that may be a Falling Star. No rain in hand, but Falling Star also quite efficient in this spot. Discard a Student. Look for the draw.
Yep. I did see a Hextech Ray. I saw a recall. I saw a Watcher.
Yeah, I mean, Ray in hand already kind of makes me feel like even if you have the Rain, you don't need to cast it because Rain is going to deal with one of these things. Yes, you would have to give a Merchant trigger over, but you can probably just stop anything from happening at the Warrens.
Yep, absolutely. Where you'd like to be. There's a Darius coming in, and the follow-up is going to be that Falling Star there. Yep, this is not going to be ideal here for Prismat, that board being cleared and also the board being developed on the side of the Kaisa.
Yep. Looking to Falling Star. These 2 leaves the Teemo around.
Yep.
It is just a single might, though. You know, Priz can always pick it up and find a spot to hide it, which is maybe worth getting it, taking it out when you get the chance, but it's kind of hard to say, right? Priz is not in a very good position to be picking this Teemo up and actually doing anything from there. Yuki, I think, piloting this game really well. We saw a blowout in game 1 from Teemo being able to get online, get on board, and Yuki not being able to find the right answers to break through. This time around, the right answers are found, and Prismat on the back foot the entire time.
Yeah, and we're seeing 5 points to 1 now. Of course, 5 is an awkward number where you're not threatening to win next turn. But 5 when your opponent is 1 is much less awkward of a number. Priz in the tank here. Trying to see what are the lines here. I think I maybe see a Watcher.
Yeah, I think so. Watcher opens the door for Teemo to actually trade something. No, of course, we do know there's a Ray that should still be available.
Right.
Tough spot for Priz. It does look like this is just going to be a Watcher. That's 8 runes. Watcher accelerated.
Yep.
Really seems like the only option. It's not a bad one. Never feels bad.
Not terrible.
Ends up just sending it towards the hopeful 7 into 1.
Yep. X-Tech Ray not able to trade there.
All right.
Fine.
Going to just pick up the hopeful with the retreat, trying to maintain material again. Wants to play for the board presence. Watcher will get that conquer.
That's 2 points. You now get the Zon Warren's trigger.
Will open up the opportunity for Priz to actually hide something on this turn. And we do see a consult the pass, but he is just going to toss that away.
Yep.
Look for a draw, another draw instead from the Warrens. Yuki, it looks like will very likely be able to get up to 6 on this turn. That is, in fact, actually Reaver's row down there, so that does make sense that you would try and actually get a clear from that Thousand-Tailed Watcher instead of just letting the Darius run away. But Yuki is going to be able to go up to 6, and that is the magic point total. However, I will say, Teemo pretty good at trying to stop you from getting the double conquer. One of the better decks at doing it.
Very true. And we're pretty close to Mundo being online and quite relevant here, but it's not only, Priz not only needs to hold on to a battlefield, they also need to deal with the Darius as well, and Watcher does a good job of dealing with most things.
Yeah, Yuki's got his own Watcher. Going to just go for a Void Seeker. Doesn't even want to deal with the hidden card straight away. Is going to be a fight or flight to just save this at reaction speed. So the Watcher gets to hang out and stay alive. Yuki will get to go to 7 points on this turn. But Priz at least has some material to try and work with. Does feel like Yuki is heavily in the driver's seat, though. Not a ton of cards in hand, but still, I mean, 3 cards, and one of them being a Watcher means I have to feel like Yuki's going to be able to pick up this game 2 and send us to a game 3.
Yeah, we will see here. Bringing Darius back makes sense. They just need to crack a giant hold here. Also don't want the Darius to just die for free to another Watcher, which is likely necessary for Priz to not be...
Reaver's row anyway.
Yeah,
so,
true. All right, Priz trying to put together the line that can get them at least out of this 2 points to 7 points deficit here. It's got to go. It's got to be one step at a time, right? You cannot. You can't jump too far ahead because any misstep here is just going to be a loss, and we'll be going to game number 3.
When I'm looking at it in the hand, I see a stack deck. That can always be the start. Try and find the answer that you need.
Right.
There are 9 runes available, so you can still get to a Watcher, but I think if that is all you've got, it's probably not getting over the finish line.
Right.
There's not a lot of better answers in this deck, though. And this isn't like Mundo Ride the Wind is even an option here. No Mundo in hand, no Ride the Wind, but also 9 runes, not 10.
Right. Not quite there. Looking at the cards in the yard to see what are my outs, what are my odds of getting what I'm looking for here.
All right, going to push in and just take the trade.
Just take the trade, okay.
Send Teemo to Warrens, start to dig.
Yep.
First step, can you find maybe a Mundo here?
Yeah.
Try and go for the hold.
Start with the draw that doesn't cost you resources to do it.
Finds the Mundo off the top.
Okay.
That is going to be one massive Mundo that Yuki's going to have to try and crack through. One step at a time here. Find the Mundo, set it up in the Warrens. Yuki can look to hold on the other side, but that's where some of the other tricks come into play from the Teemo deck. Fight or flight your own Mundo, run it to the other side. Tide Turner your own Mundo, run it to the other side.
Yeah.
Ride the Wind, there's options. There's ways that you can play around it. Just going to stack deck in response to the Darius running in.
Yep. Use the window there to play the action speed spell.
Yuki, however, is going to get a lot of card advantage from this overall, being able to get the Conquer draw, and this can start to really impact the matchup when you are able to get to 7 this quickly, and you're able to have that battlefield open that you can keep getting cards off of, even if you can't get the hold. Though he is going to try double Darius there. Can always bring one home if Prismat finds an answer, but if Priz doesn't find an answer to 10 might, then you're able to pick up the win. Plus, there is action there with some spells held back for Yuki. It looks like 5 or 6 runes that he's got available.
Yeah, Priz going up to 4. I mean, here's the thing. If everything falls apart here, Priz is only at 4 points, so there's still some time to come back. Now, I feel like if it all falls apart, it will be because this Mundo got more value against your board than you could afford. That may be unrecoverable, but there's at least a few turns of time at a minimum for Yuki, even if everything is destroyed. But Priz now setting it up one step at a time here. What are they going to be able to do to contest this Reaver's Row with double Darius? Need to do something. A Singularity would be pretty good here, I would say. There's another one in the deck.
Yeah, being able to just immediately deal with the double Darius, especially because that would require 2 reaction speed spells to get out of there. Not allowing just action speed stuff, which you would expect. There's probably some amount of maybe Ray, Void Seeker, that kind of thing hanging out, not just, you know, a bunch of Stupefies. It's possible that that's what's there, but
you'd
at least maybe hedge that bet.
Yeah. Like, gonna start.
There is a fight or flight, so Mundo is able to pivot.
Yep.
One of these Dariuses will be taken down. And that's what you need. You need these, the Tide Turners, ways to just pivot the Mundo around. Have that mobility that you do get out of being in this Chaos domain.
Yeah, Fight or Flight, Ride the Wind. Some of my favorite cards.
Looking at Yuki going through that hand, it does look like there is, of course, still one more Watcher available, and that is a lot of kind of just burn spells that he's got. It looks like maybe that'll just be to take out Teemo, or, no, actually going into the Mundo. Does he have enough burn spells to contest this Mundo, actually? He's up against 10. There's 6 damage into Mundo.
Okay. That also triggers the Dariuses, too.
That's true.
That's another +4. That's 14. Mundo's got 6 damage.
I mean, Mundo definitely has enough might to still remove everything.
Sure.
It's not even remotely close to the problem. But for Yuki, it's can I get rid of this Mundo?
Right.
There's a Sprite's Call as well.
5,
That's action
6,
speed.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 cards.
So is it 19? He's taken 6. Recall the Teemo.
Yes.
That's going to put him back up. What is that now?
20?
20?
If I counted correctly, and I'm not going to count it again.
And the Stupefy reduced one of them.
Well, yeah.
So that's actually Mundo just getting over the top.
Wow.
Does Prismat actually, has he been able to turn the corner here? Because that's so much stuff being thrown in the bin.
Yeah.
Watcher's not getting through this Mundo yet.
No. And also, by the way, we've got hidden cards available.
Yeah, he has this Sprite's Call, which I think he might want to hold to try and look for the win a little bit later.
Yeah.
But he can hide the Teemo.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's the Teemo there. There's, potentially the, ability to have other cards. Teemo's
Place
just
it
going
at home.
Okay.
Having it ready to run in somewhere and look for a Conquer.
I like it.
Knowing that, hey, maybe this 1 point of might with the Sprite's Call is actually what he needs.
Yep.
Third Darius for Yuki.
Chris checking to make sure it's not the 4th Darius.
Falling Star looking at Teemo.
Yeah, I'm assuming just both on Teemo.
Well, one Teemo, one over at Mundo. Teemo's just a 1.
Yeah.
Maybe that 3 damage matters one day.
Maybe.
It won't. It will not matter.
Probably won't.
It absolutely won't matter. Goes there, so he can trigger. You can go ahead and look for the draw.
Yep. And then the rummage.
And then the discard and draw.
Discards a Watcher.
Yeah, it doesn't do enough into the Mundo.
Yeah.
He has to look for the hold. The question is can Priz find a way to get this Mundo back home? I don't think I see one in hand. But maybe a tide turner off the top. Any additional draw can also do it.
Yep. Up
If
to
Priz
6.
finds a way to get over there with the Mundo, this is game. He'll score to 7. That Mundo is still far too big for Yuki to deal with it.
Yep.
What can he find off the top of the deck? I don't think he has it in hand. I see the Sprite call. I haven't seen the other card.
Sprite call, and is it a Watcher?
It's a Watcher. Watcher is enough.
Yeah.
Watcher is plenty to push through here.
And certainly Watcher plus Sprite call, if not. But yeah, Watcher is going to be more than enough.
Yeah, and he has enough for both. Slam the Watcher.
Yeah.
Yuki has spells, but I thought this game was cooked for Priz. I thought he was done, and yet he's still able to find the answers off the back of this Mundo. Kai's having such a problem with this Mundo, and just the amount, because we're on Warrens, the volume of stuff in the trash for Priz. And Watcher at the end going to be able to seal things out, get him up to 7.
Yeah.
Mundo's still on board at like 20?
Yeah.
Nearly?
You know.
Not quite.
Close.
17? Maybe? I'm not counting. I don't need to. It's too many.
It's too many numbers. Mundo too big. Mundo no care. Void Seeker not going to do it.
And the warp there for Yuki.
Oh.
One turn earlier, if he was able to just get his units into an open battlefield and cast the warp, and Yuki's got it, but he can't quite get there. Prismaticism going to pick up the win in this one on Teemo, advancing to 6-1. 2 more rounds remaining for Priz to make that top 8.
I